Good evening, everyone. This is your host, Wade Franson, created in the image of God, the role of religion in society. I'm here with my friend, philosopher Daniel Sanderson, founder of planksip. And tonight we're going to be talking about his new book and answering the question, how would Plato vote? Welcome to the studio, Dan.
Oh, thank you, Wade, for having me.
So how long have you been working on this book? And of course, your whole life, right? But specifically.
Yeah, so I originally thought 10 years, but I think hard head down for two solid full years of putting it all together. And yeah, it's been great.
And your book is Reimagining Plato, and you worked with Dr. Martine Diepenbrook to get this tome together. Is it a tome or what is it?
It's essentially a reference book. I had spent hours and hours and hours going through Plato's dialogues, and most academics or people who are reading Plato's dialogues just can only do it once or twice a lifetime. And so what this does is it lets the reader look up things. It's a reference book to certain arguments and what the academic community has spent so much time researching and what they have to say about the book. So that's essentially what it is.
But for the modern enlightened man, I understand it also makes them accessible and relevant.
That's right. I mean, when you think about it, you quite often don't know the depth of what you're reading, and I think this happens in a lot of sacred texts.
So you consider Plato to be a sacred text?
Well, certainly, yeah, I do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So now we are talking tonight, well, we're the sneak peek, but we will be talking on election night. And Plato wrote something called what, the Republic?
Yes, he did.
And thus the title of the show, How Would Plato Vote? We want to look at our republic here in America. And of course, you're hailing from Canada, which is where I was born. So we have a degree of detachment, hopefully, from the current madness of the American election for 2024. But it's polarizing and dividing this country. So, Christians and conservatives often ask the question, how would Jesus vote? And we're asking, how would Plato vote? We're going to dive into that. I'm not asking you to answer it today, but what can viewers expect for episode 1, 2, 3 on November 5th, election night? Why should they tune in here instead of the election itself?
I think viewers need to really understand, if they're using and they're viewing this through the lens of Plato, he really had a hard time with democracies. And rather than picking sides, I think understanding why he thought democracies were a challenge. Now, it's not a pure democracy that the vote is going to determine, but it's the level of chaos associated with an overly democratic party or society. So that's the little tidbit that I hope to throw out to the audience, and hopefully it tweaks the interest.
Well, and we're also going to be covering questions like, how would Jesus vote? How would a Christian vote? How would a Baha'i vote? Maybe even how would a Muslim vote? Looking at other sacred texts and analyzing this decision. I personally believe that it's a sacred duty to vote. At one time in my past, it was literally against my religion. How would Jesus vote? He wouldn't. He said, my kingdom is not of this world. I'll unpack that and more, and we'll talk about all of this, helping you perhaps get over your election hangover for when you vote for or didn't vote for the person who won, and how you feel about it the next day. This may give you a different lens to look at that question. You don't want to miss episode 1, 2, 3, election night, November 5th, 8 p.m. Central Time, created in the image of God, the role of religion in society. We'll see you there.